Well, Grischuk versus Caruana. Vidit, what's your take on this game? It was, I think, some very deep preparation by Caruana, like always.
Yeah, he seemed to be better prepared in this game. Definitely.
So it was like Grischuk gave up a pawn, but he was not sure whether he had compensation or not. So we want you to explain us the intricacies because it looked like a very complicated opening position.
Yeah, Arkhangelsk is usually like one of the most complex lines in Spanish.
Yeah, with the bishop coming to c5 and a4, rook b8, c3, d6,
Yeah, this is all standard so far.
and this a5 which we saw in round 1
Yeah,
between MVL and Caruana.
yeah.
Bishop a7, h3, castles, bishop e3.
He took ED right in the game after Bishop E3. Did he play ED in against Russia?
Yeah.
Some night before.
First, I
Yeah.
guess bishop was on b7.
No, Bishop E7 always loses to D5.
Sorry, bishop b7 loses to d5.
Yeah,
Uh,
you lose
okay,
a
okay,
piece.
okay. I lose a piece.
Yeah,
So knight b4 and I think knight c3 and then bishop b7, something like this.
yeah. Yeah, this was it. Mhm. So I assume that, and also the other lines are like usually black plays rook a, and there's a point to it because if you play d, now you can take knight e5, and the a7 bishop is protected.
Okay.
That's the point of rook a8. But it's not ideal because apart from that, rook on e8 is kind of doesn't serve any purpose. Uh, so the point of Fabi's move rook e8 is that he doesn't want to waste time with rook 8, and the argument is that after d he can take bishop e3, ef, and okay, this position is okay. This is the argument for rook e8, and it's a very rare move actually. I think only 2 games were played in rook e8.
Okay.
Uh, that's why I think Grischuk thought for a long
Maybe is
time.
it because like fg7 doesn't win a tempo over the rook here?
No, rook e8 in general is useful, and now it's very interesting this position. Uh, what would you play as black?
Yeah, I would like to save my bishop, but which square? Ah, maybe bishop h6, so that after you take, I want to take on. No, I can't take e4 because of bishop d5.
No, I think bishop h6. Fg is not really the issue, but queen d5 is.
Yeah, but queen d5, I have knight e5
Yeah, knight d5
and takes and bishop e6.
is. But
Intermediate moves.
knight f7.
Okay, intermediate.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, okay, you have knight d8 and f7.
yeah. The thing is bishop d5.
Yeah.
You take bishop d5. Now the queen is attacked, so you take the pawn. But
Yes.
you have knight h6, king f8, and knight g4, and you have 3 pieces.
Oh my god.
And that's why the bishop on h6 is bad. So in this position, ef6, the point is to go bishop f4, and now the same line works. If you go queen d5, there's knight e5, knight e5, bishop e6. Now there is after knight f7, queen f6, and now the h6 bishop is not hanging.
Tremendous.
So I think
Could I have played like when in that line with bishop h6,
sorry, yeah,
here after queen d5, knight e5 takes bishop e6, knight f7, take here, because after take I take
Yeah.
with queen.
Queen d1. And do you defend
And
the
I
bishop on
defend the
b3?
bishop. Yeah, doesn't work. Okay. So bishop e3, ef6, bishop f4 is the
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
But
And I
what?
think
How do you
we'll
say that this? Okay, we are going in deep, but how do you say this is not a problem? Because for me, it's like you lose a pawn,
you play queen f6.
and then you kind of use your active pieces.
Yeah, and the open g file for counterplay.
Okay,
Always there will be some bishop h3 in the air, and somehow
nice.
black has sufficient counterplay.
Two bishops. Yeah. So
So it was a very unpleasant surprise for Grischuk.
hmm,
And it was funny. I think for knight g5, he thought for like 15 minutes, and then in the same position after knight f3 rook e8, he thought for another half an hour.
really okay.
Half an hour, no, 25, 26 minutes, something like that.
So in a way, he thought for over 40 minutes on this move. We can say just that he
Yeah,
broke it up into two different moves.
closer to move 40. If-
Yes, but it was quite possible that Grischuk, as he previously mentioned, he was not feeling well, so he could have even accepted a draw here.
yeah, but it's, when you always feel that it's an option, but it kind of feels very embarrassing to do so. It's back in sometimes on the back of the mind, but you always think, oh, I had white, and just like first new move, and I just take a draw immediately. It's kind of not so pleasant feeling. So I
Yeah.
understand to continue, especially when you're white, and every white matters in this candidates.
Yes, so he went rook e1
Yeah,
and ed. Just to make things clear, knight into e4 is not working because of bishop d5, correct?
yeah, always.
But here, I mean, I take this.
No,
e3.
in this position, sorry, probably d5 works. No,
But and then e4 is always like if we bishop e3, rook e4, and e4 is hanging.
yeah,
Okay, so these are the two ways usually knight
yeah.
e4 is met.
Bishop
Either
d5 is, it's usually bishop d5, but because of rook e1, this d5 is another idea.
correct. So he took ed, cd, and knight e4.
d5. Yeah.
And here d5 takes rook e3. I was thinking on this position. Actually, there's only one move, yeah, for black.
Yes, only one move, 97.
And Grischuk in his post conference said he thought he's winning a piece or something with queen d4.
Yeah, I remember.
He did miss black's next move. Bishop f5. I think this is very good preparation by Caruana.
Was he still blitzing out?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he played quickly.
So the a7 knight cannot be taken.
Yeah, because you trap the queen with knight c5.
Yeah, rook e8, queen e8, queen c7,
Yeah,
knight b3, rook a3.
yeah. And I think here you can either play rook c8, queen d6, and then queen e2. The point is that you cannot take on b3 because there is queen d1 check. Otherwise, black can also play knight c5. The point is, if you play queen d6, there is knight b7, and now b1 knight is hanging.
Okay.
So that's why this queen a7 doesn't work. But although like white is a pawn down, he has sufficient compensation because the knight on a7 is misplaced.
Yes, I mean this is quite passive here, but one pawn, is it a good enough like compensation? Like white has good enough compensation for a pawn?
Well, at least he's not worse for sure, and it's probably around level, or maybe it takes a lot of effort for white to get worse after the opening.
Yeah.
It's not so simple.
Actually, when I was looking at the game, I was thinking, can bishop c2 be played so that I want to win this guy here.
Or maybe it is c5 in this position.
Yes, c5, and then I thought takes, and then knight takes, and here actually the queen doesn't have any good square to go, and black
Right.
seems to be
Queen
fine.
d5 is met with knight b4.
Correct. Yeah. So in a way, Grischuk just played knight bd2,
Knight c5.
knight c5, rook e8, queen e8, rook e1, queen f8.
Yeah, the point of queen f8 is that he wants to keep the e8 square for the rook. I mean, he could go queen d8 as well, but then there is no threat of rook e8 in many of the lines.
Correct.
That's why he played queen f8.
bd1.
Bishop d1. I mean, it's a strange move when I first saw it, but like bishop a2 looks more normal. But at the point of Grischuk probably was that he wants to, um, like for example, after bishop d1, b4, put the bishop here.
Yeah.
And first I was wondering what's the point, and then I realized that there is simply sometimes a threat to take on a6.
Yes. And then knight a6 is met with queen a7.
Yes. So let's say one of black's ideas is to play c6,
Mm-hmm.
bring the knight, but now there is this move bishop a6, and it's kind of unpleasant.
Right.
So bishop e2, queen d8. Now you cannot take on a6 because knight a6, queen a7, and again the same idea of knight c5. Now the c7 pawn is defended, so
Nice.
rook a8 is not possible.
Correct.
Rook a8 is possible.
So Grischuk went queen bishop f1. Lot of subtle play involved with little moves.
Yeah, I mean it's hard for me to suggest what else to do.
No,
Like
this looks logical.
yeah, it's logical. Yeah, black wants to play knight b5, but the b4 pawn is hanging all the time. So he played h6, useful waiting move, kind of.
Yeah.
b3, and now b3. It kind of worked in the game, but objectively it might not be good because this b3 pawn is a constant weakness. But I understand the point. Now there is a threat of playing knight b5.
Yeah.
And Bishop played queen f4, but in fact it was more accurate to go queen c3 and to play knight d4 next.
And knight b5,
You can take b5,
bishop d5, rook b5, knight d.
knight d4, and f5 is hanging as well.
Yes. So queen f4 was a slight inaccuracy here.
Yeah. One of the reasons is that black could go bishop c2 in this position. And after knight d4, if you imagine the queen on c3, it could attack on c2, right?
Yes.
So that's the difference. And here, black constantly has the threat of playing something like queen g5 or queen f6, to exchange queens. I'm not sure if it works in this position precisely, but it's always an idea.
Yeah, but with knight d4, I'm not really threatening to take here, nor knight c6. So actually, black can do something here.
Yeah, bishop c2, knight d4, queen f6, or queen g5 looks kind of okay for black.
Yeah.
But I was surprised Fabi went for bishop d7. Knight d4, rook b4. Probably he was tempted by this idea to put the rook on b4.
Yes. And he went rook g3. Looks like a dangerous attack is coming up with two pieces and king here.
Yes, but this next move is very nice for black. Like it's also a small test if you want to think about how would you play as black.
Well, I did notice what Fabi played, but maybe that move might not be best. No,
No,
that is
the best.
queen at 6 actually.
Yeah.
So I would imagine moving the king, say, but where? Like king h8, then queen f7, king
Right.
f8, then knight e6.
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
s-
what Fabi played is actually good. You're indirectly defending against the threat. So what happens after queen h6?
okay. Queen h6, maybe queen e5,
Yeah.
and then if knight f3, then queen g3 is coming.
Yeah. If you play knight f3, there is queen g3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking at first, like, like if rook g5, queen d4, knight f3, and it's almost you have tapped the queen, but you have queen b2.
Yeah.
And then it looks like knight e5 and it's mate, you cannot avoid it. But then there is queen
Queen
e5.
e5. Yeah. And on the diagonal, queen has cleaned up everything.
Yeah. So, so this is a cute tactic.
Yeah.
Queen e7, and now Grischuk went wrong. Probably the best was to just play knight b3, and okay, it might lead to some exchanges, but white is definitely not worse.
Hmm.
So he played bishop c4, and I think now he renewed the threat of,
Queen h6. Yeah.
in a way, I'm not sure if it's actually even renewed. Yeah, queen h6, you threaten because, let's say,
Queen e5.
um, just to make a random move like knight c8 to show
Hmm.
queen h6, queen e5. Now there's only one piece attacking on d4, so you can just simply go queen h4. So that was the entire point of bishop c4.
Yeah.
So next move what Fabi played is quite logical, knight b5.
In that line, actually, what you showed, queen h4, at the end, there was some queen e1 check coming up, or no? There
Knight
was.
f1. This rook c4, yeah.
Yeah. But also there is queen d8. So,
No, I mean, I think after queen e1 you can just go king h2, and there is queen f6 in the end.
so here, if queen e1, king h2.
I mean, with such weak king, it's hard to imagine that black will be okay.
Hmm.
g6 rook f3. Bishop e8 rook e3.
Bishop e8, rook e.
Rook e3. Bishop d7, then knight e6.
Wow, nice variation.
That's just probably finish. Yeah, queen g6. Something would
Yeah.
come. So,
Okay.
I mean, we don't need to check it because knight c8, I just wanted to show the point, like,
Yeah. Knight.
what is the threat.
Knight.
Knight b5, finally black brings the knight, and if all the concrete line works, he has solved the main problem in black's position.
Hmm.
So definitely now on black is completely fine.
So white took a pawn actually. Now that nothing was working, so at least you can get back your pawn.
Yeah.
But take, check, king h2, rook b3, bishop, knight b3.
Yeah, it's equal pawns, but white pawns are kind of weak. Yeah, a5, d5, d2, and it's if practically it looks like black is better.
Hmm.
Practically not so much, but practically because it's hard for black to also attack them. You
Yeah.
cannot like, really maneuver the knight on d5 at the moment.
But still, I mean, white pieces don't have good squares, while black pieces already look to be on decent squares.
Yes, but let's say if Grischuk played something like queen c1, it's hard to imagine him getting worse. Now you defend the c4 bishop, you get out of the pin. Slowly you'll untangle the queen c2 next move, and then move the bishop to d3, and so on. Yeah, exchange queens. I don't know, something like that. It's
Yes.
hard to see what black can do, but I can understand with in practical play it's much easier to play with black. But queen e4 was a mistake. Can you see why? It's a very unusual. There is a very unusual way to exploit it.
Wow, nice. Can I go c6 or c5? Because if takes, then bishop e6.
Right.
So maybe c5. Yeah.
C5, yes. And now, first of all, you improve your pawn structure. The c7 pawn is no longer backward.
Hmm.
There's always this idea of knight c7, bishop b5. It's again very unpleasant.
Correct.
So white played queen d3. And okay, what would you play as black here?
I was
It's not
thinking
so
of
hard.
following up on your plan, knight c7 with the idea of bishop b5. Um,
Right. So it's the correct plan.
hmm.
It's not so simple because I'll show you. It's very interesting. So it looks knight c7, and
Okay. One second. Knight
how would you
c7,
play as white?
bishop a6, knight a6, queen a6, queen b3, queen
Yeah,
d6.
yeah.
Okay. And then
You get
d7.
some counterplay.
Yeah,
Yes,
like black pieces cannot coordinate so well.
like queen a6, queen d3, queen d6, queen d7. It looks like a6, queen a7. But I think you have queen e7 in the end. And then you play d6, and it's like an eternal queen on this d7 bishop.
Draw.
I don't know if
Maybe
it's even drawn.
white can start pressing.
Yeah. So this is the problem. So that's the drawback of knight c7. And we I think saw this game of Nepo Miniachi, Varsha Lagrao against Grischuk.
Yeah.
And at that point, there was this idea of playing h5 and g4, but immediately it did not work because there was a rook d4 in the end. So we kind of prepared that idea. If you want to make something work and it doesn't work immediately, we kind of prepare it. So how would you do that? It's the same motive, and it's quite common. Like if an idea doesn't work, and there's a particular reason why it does not,
Yeah.
you kind of prevent why it does not work.
Well, in this case, he's taking on a6 and then d6. So can I defend any of that? Maybe I can play bishop e8 so that after take on d6, the bishop is not attacked. But it seems too deep.
But then the problem is there is always some queen c8 or queen a8, and
Yeah.
then a6, a7.
Because okay, all my pieces here look pretty good.
Really? All?
I mean, my knight is well placed, queen also, queen, bishop, everything. How do I? King is not so good, so maybe you would say like get the
Yeah.
king.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. That's why I asked. Are all the pieces well placed?
Yeah, I was thinking king f8, but I thought okay, next move I can't do knight c7 still because it's the
Yes.
same problem.
Yes. But you can play king e7 and white's pieces are stuck. You can't really improve immediately.
Nice. Because
And
this knight is stuck with this pawn, this bishop has no squares, queen has to defend both. So yeah,
and if you remember this theme we saw also in that endgame in Berlin endgame to go king f2 because everything else was well placed.
yes,
The king was not participating, so we went king f2 and then king g3.
yeah. I guess if everyone saw what you are showing intensely, then the themes are often repeating. So
Yes, it could also mean that I just know 2 or 3 themes or they're reoccurring. So I'll leave that to you decide.
well, I would say that if those 2-3 themes can take you to 2-7, 2-6, it's good. It's a good thing to to learn them. Okay, so
So
king f8 was a good move, but Fabi played g6.
yes. The idea is to play bishop f5,
Yeah,
so
g4.
g4. So previously it looks like silly, like why you playing g4, why you playing g6, but every move kind of has certain idea behind it.
Yeah, king g2, and now
Knight
knight
c7.
c7.
Yeah, it's I think a bad timing. First of all, I think black kind of misplayed. He allowed white to improve the king because the king is now closer to the center, white's king.
Hmm.
In the exchange of queens, the king will be very quickly coming to the center. So g6 king g7 kind of helped black, and probably we missed one thing. So after now bishop b5 is the threat. How would you avoid it?
Yeah, no, I was I was still considering our original plan of take queen b3 queen d6.
I'm not
Now
sure if it works now because the
queen
back rank is.
and now maybe uh,
We can just play bishop b5 maybe.
uh,
Yeah, but
queen b2 maybe queen,
queen b2 or
queen
queen
c4.
g3. Mm,
I guess this bishop
no, bishop c4. Bishop c4 and bishop b5. Does it work?
yeah, it looks a little like the king is slightly exposed here.
Yes.
Okay, so I can't take.
There the pawn was in g2 and the king was not so vulnerable. So
Yeah, maybe try to exchange queens with queen
yes,
c3.
queen c3 takes bc. And now how would you play as black?
Now I don't want to play bishop b5 because okay, it's possible. Bishop, or maybe if we reach bishop a4 endgame, like take on b3.
But what's wrong with bishop b5? And you just winning a pawn.
No, bishop b5.
Take.
Yeah, take.
And you just winning a pawn here.
Yeah, d5 is hanging now, and if king f3 or something, then knight d5, a6, knight c7. Yeah, knight b6. Yeah, maybe. And okay, black knight v6 or knight c7, and black can defend, yeah, with a pawn up position.
Sorry, I was using a trick question. Black is not actually winning a pawn. And the reason is because not of king f3, but what it's probably if
Ah,
I missed this.
knight c5.
Yeah. I
Okay,
was using
this.
trick question not to making it hard for you to find the
Yeah, yeah,
answer.
yeah. I often do this when I am teaching, but I guess I didn't expect you to do this. So, good one there.
Another reason why the king should be on e7, not on g7.
Mhm.
Because of these concrete reasons, it did not work.
Yeah, bishop b5. So he went f5.
Yeah, and now you get an extra move, 92. You have always have knight g, 94. For example, fg at g.
Fg, hg. Yeah.
Yeah, bishop g4, there's 94.
Yeah, and both these weaknesses cannot be defended.
Yeah, so king f6, king g3. And problem is you can't really attack on this d5 pawn. So it's like black just needs one move kind of to play bishop c8. Yeah, or bishop, yeah, and then but then white moves the bishop and plays c4. So you're just kind of one tempo short.
Yeah. So bishop b5,
Bishop b3.
bishop b3, bishop e2, gf, gf, f4.
Yeah, and now it's completely blocked. Draw is the natural because there's no way to progress.
Yeah. Okay, so they agreed to a draw and a very nice and intense game by two players, and a lot of little points here to be learnt, especially this queen a7 line where there was a requirement for deep calculation, trapping the queen, and also I really learnt a lot from this part actually, the king move. Where was it?
King f8, king e7.
Yeah, here. Uh, Yeah, this one here, where c5 first was played, and now you just bring your king there.
Yes,
And
it's not an easy move to make, but once you see it, you kind of see, you
black can
realize that it's
actually
good.
play for a win here, right? I mean, black.
Of course, Black is the only one who is playing for win. He is definitely better. He has like a very good Benoni.
Correct. And then finally, this trick which I missed, which was bishop
Bishop
b5
b5.
and knight c5. Yeah.
In endgame, actually, it's mostly calculation
Yeah.
which matters a lot.
But often to calculate in endgames is not easy. Like for me, it was very difficult to always calculate knight endgames. So it's all about developing. I mean, middle game calculation skills are different from end game calculation
Well,
skills.
in endgame, it's like you have to be more precise, and sometimes the calculation is like short calculation. Sometimes,
Yeah,
but you have to be more precise, kind of. In middle game, you have many options. Uh, like you can play, for example, earlier on. um, Here you don't really need to calculate so much. You can play bishop a2, you can play rook e3. It's more like you're improving the position.
hmm,
There is calculation but limited. But in endgame, you see it's every move kind of you have to calculate small lines, uh,
people have
and you
a
have to be more
opposite
precise.
notion actually. They think that end game is less calculation and middle game is more often.
It could be, but I just feel it in endgame you have to make small accurate calculations, and that's why this Carpo. Uh, uh, I mean, the handling of such questions by Carpo was very good.
Right.
I was once analyzing with him in Vacanze, and I was really surprised by how quick he sees these lines. I had great respect for this world champion, and I could see like he was calculating small tactics very quickly.
Well, he was
That's where I
already
that
63, 64 years
yeah,
old. Yeah.
yes, that's where I realized that oh, Carpo is of course famous for his end games, and I could see how he calculates and how he sees, what's his perspective on the
Hmm.
end game. So it kind of gave me this idea that it's more about small calculation rather than anything else.
Correct. Yeah. So after seeing Karpov in action, you kind of did you work on this part of your game, or
Not consciously, but it kind of happens because you're constantly playing chess, analyzing your games. So when you analyze such games, you also make notes of such things, mental notes, right?
yeah?
So it's a more of a subconscious thing.
I realize that at this level where you are, the improvement is not actually of something specific. Like someone says I'm bad at rook end game. Now let me study rook end games for 10 days and you get better. But it's more about just those little incremental things which
Yes, you
actually.
fine tune most of the things, and small increments here and there. Eventually, it adds up, and you improve.
Correct. So it's very difficult, I would say, to improve. Especially, it's like I can put it in this analogy that if someone goes to a doctor with a specific disease, and the doctor can easily say, okay, take these medicines, you'll get better. But when you go as a fit person, then to make you even more fit, it is like you need to incorporate good habits in your life and
Well, I'm not sure that analogy kind of works because from my personal experience, I know what is the problems that so even after that, it's not easy to solve it
you
sometimes.
know
So,
your problems as a player.
yes.
So there are certain issues which you have to.
No, I mean, even doctors, sometimes there is some problems, but there is no cure immediate, right?
Yeah, that's true.